What do Tiger Woods, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Presidents Bill Clinton and JFK, as well as rock star Ozzy Osbourne, and now Alabama Governor Robert Bentley. What do all these guys have in common? Well, if you guessed that they're all guys, that's part of the deal. The real thing they have in common is the topic of today's show. Hey guys and gals, boys and girls, tubers of the U. Welcome back. Tim Knox here, your faithful servant, bringing you yet again another question that has been pondered through the ages. And that question is, what are they thinking? I mentioned at the top of the show, you've got Tiger Woods, Arnold, Clinton, JFK, Ozzy, and now Alabama Governor Robert Bentley, this 74-year-old hunk of a man. What do they all have in common? Well, they're all cheaters. They can't control their urges. As my grandpa would say, they couldn't keep Willy Wonka out of the chocolate factory. Now, I don't know why my grandpa said that, because he was a big lover of chocolate, but I digress. The point of all of this is all of the guys you see here and many, many more cheated on their respective girlfriends, boyfriends, or spouses. So the question becomes, why do men cheat? Why do men have such a hard time being faithful to women? Now, I myself am a man, granted a rather old and worn out version of one, but it's a question that even I can't answer. This is a question that has been pondered through the ages, even through history. Going back, Henry VIII had, 8 wives, we're going to say. That's why they called him the Eighth. And not only couldn't Henry keep it in his leotard or whatever they wore back then, if he would see a woman, he would just say, "I am king, bring me that bitch." And then when he got tired of it, he would just chop off their heads. Now, some men would argue that that is a practice that should not have been left in the 13th century. I'm not one of them. But you look at Henry VIII and then the Bible. The Bible is full of guys who can't keep their togas up. You look at Samson and Delilah. Think of all the wars that have been fought over the centuries over women. Troy, the movie Troy, based on a real deal. You got Paris, who really looked like he should be more hanging out with the boys than the girls. But, he has an affair with this king's wife, and he kidnaps her. And the king, they bring the whole frickin' army to Troy, along with Brad Pitt, and they just wipe the shit out of everybody. Why? Because Paris couldn't keep it in his pants. It's the P word. And I don't want to be indiscreet and use the P word, because it is, it's slangish, and some ladies are put off by it, like the C word. My wife hates the C word, but the P word that I'm talking about is, you know what it is. It starts with P, it ends with Y, and it rhymes with ussy. Seems to have just a horrific effect on men. We can't control ourselves. At least a lot of us can't. Now, I don't have a problem controlling myself. I'm 57, and when you get my age, and I'm in relatively good health, I can muster up a good one maybe once a month. I'm not going to go out and spread my seed elsewhere. It's just too much pressure. It's too much pressure. But a lot of people did. And then you've got people like King Edward of France, or of England, rather, who gave up his crown for the love of a woman. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, read a frickin' history book. King Edward abdicated the throne because he fell in love with a lady named Wallis Simpson. And she was kind of a hardy-tardy American. And he gave up the crown for her. Obviously, there's more there than looks, but that's a very shallow thing to say. So all through history, it's been this way, and it's really relevant today, or prevalent. It's relevant and prevalent because of the internet, because you hear about it. It's impossible to cheat these days, guys, without frickin', somebody taking a picture of it, or you send a selfie. Like Andrew Weiner, who has there ever been a more aptly named sumbitch on the planet than Anthony Weiner, a guy who can't stop taking pictures of his wiener and sending it to lovely young ladies. It baffles me. One of the things that really confuses me is, I know why men cheat, because men are pigs, and we have these primal urges that go back to caveman, and it was all about procreation, because, there weren't so many people around. So, hey, you doodled who you could, because you wanted to increase the population. Well, now there's something like, 1,000 billion people on the planet. So we no longer procreate. Men cheat just because men are pigs. Self-centered, narcissistic, horny pigs. Now, the one thing that's always confused me, and I don't mean, again, to be shallow, but I have to bring this up because it is part of the argument, is some of the famous women who have been cheated on. You've got like Christy Brinkley and Sandra Bullock and Halle Berry. Who in their right mind would cheat on Halle Berry? And not just once, but multiple times. It seems that every guy Halle picks cheats on her. Now, maybe there's something going on with Halle we don't like. But if you got a good woman at home, guys, I don't know why you would cheat on her. Okay, there are exceptions to every rule. And then you have guys that not cheat, but they harass. They harass women. They make sexual innuendo and comments and say things that are inappropriate. And this goes back Clarence Thomas, when he was being considered for the Supreme Court. You remember the lady said that he handed her a Coke that had a pubic hair in it, which I think is more of a health care or a health code violation than harassment, but I digress. And then you've got Roger Ailes. This was really recent. He was the head of Fox News, who turned out that he just harassed everybody and lost his job. And then, of course, you've got the harassers that go to the extreme, like Bill Cosby. Well, you put the pill in the pudding, and then you eat the pudding, and then you wake up. That was a very bad Cosby. But, why would a guy like Bill Cosby, who could have cheated very easily, I'm sure, he's been married to the same woman for 128 years, but I'm pretty sure that there were some floozies lined up that would have happily and without the use of drugs pleasured Mr. Cosby. So that's just kind of a weird, sick thing there. And then the latest is Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly, the big mouth pundit, the number one guy on Fox News, has been taken down, fired this week by Fox because of charges of sexual harassment. And supposedly O'Reilly walked into the newsroom and there was an attractive black lady there. And he said, "What's up, hot chocolate?" Now, take it out of context. I guess that's very insulting. If you're at a strip joint and you say that, that's okay, I think. Not that I've frequented strip. Anyway, Bill O'Reilly has been fired. Now, here's the thing. Bill O'Reilly got an umbrella severance of $25 million. Now, Bill, you don't have to harass. There's a lot of women who would gladly partake of your factor for that kind of money. But yeah, so they're saying that O'Reilly's career is over. Now, if you don't know Bill O'Reilly, again, he was one of the top anchors on Fox News, also famous for writing historical books. He did Killing Reagan, Killing Patton, Killing JFK, Killing Lincoln, Killing Jesus, and my absolute favorite, his next book is going to be called Killing My Career by good old Bill O'Reilly. So anyway, let's get back to the governor of the great state of Alabama, where I am from. Now, if you don't know this story, Robert Bentley is 74 years old. He is voted the governor of the state of Alabama. He's been married to the same woman, Mrs. Bentley, for some 50 years. Well, here's a little side note. It seems Governor Bentley has been kicked out of office for what we're about to talk about, but the last 3 out of 5 governors here in the state of Alabama have either been kicked out of office or put in prison 3 out of 5. And that's what Bentley just did a plea deal to avoid prison. So, our Speaker of the House is up on charges. Our Supreme Court justice here in the state of Alabama has been suspended for his views on gay marriage. So it's almost like Alabama politicians, they aren't very good. Because they keep getting caught. Good politicians, they just keep on going. But here is the deal. Robert Bentley, 74 years old, happily married for 50 years to a very beautiful lady, decides to have what he calls an emotional affair with his aide, Rebecca Mason. Now, if you don't know the difference between an emotional affair and a physical affair, it all has to do with insertion. That's as delicately as I can put it. It goes back to Bill Clinton. If you don't insert it, it's not cheating. So Governor Bentley did say he had an emotional affair. Now, here's the kicker. This is what I think is just brilliant. Most political wives would have just rolled over and supported their husband when that news broke. If you look at Anthony Weiner's wife, she stuck by him. Who was the other guy? John, what's his name? One of the other guys that got caught cheating. Yeah, I know. I don't do my homework. I just remember first names. But Mrs. Bentley went, F that. You can't cheat on me, you old bastard, and get away with it. So she started brilliantly amassing evidence, text messages, voicemails, little correspondence between Governor Bentley and Rebecca Mason. Now, this brings up another question. Governor Bentley, who resembles Mr. Burns from The Simpsons, I'm not sure what he has going for him, but he gets Rebecca Mason, and again, they allegedly have this emotional affair. Now, she's not an unattractive lady. In many quarters and late-night bars, she would be considered quite attractive. So why did she go after him? Now, granted, he's the governor of the state, but it's not like he was Mick Jagger or someone. He's not a rock star, but I guess a girl has to have her standards, no matter how low they might be. So anyway, these voicemails started leaking out, and basically it was old Robert here, old Bobby, talking dirty to Rebecca. Now, I'm 57, and I have had phone sex, but that involved just phoning to get sex. Could you come to the room? But they had this phone sex. Now, remember, he's 74 years old, but he's a doctor. He is a retired doctor who still has his prescription pad, and he can write Viagra prescriptions till the cows come home. Viagra, in my opinion, has probably broke up more marriages than anything. So anyway, most wives would roll over. Mrs. Bentley, screw that. I'm going to nail your ass to the door, and that's exactly what she did. It took a little while, but eventually the gentlemen and the good folks in the Alabama Senate started impeachment proceedings on Bentley, and then it was discovered that he had misused some campaign funds. He had used some state troopers to actually go around to people and tell them they better not say anything about the affair. So he was threatened with jail time, and he resigned the office in a plea deal, which gets him out of jail time, but does not get him out of the shame and ridicule of people like me. So the weird thing about it is his girlfriend's husband actually worked for him. So there may have been a bit of a menage a trois, or as we say here in Alabama, menage mahal, but that's just a picture that I don't want to think about because you can't unsee some things. So, he does a plea deal, he leaves. But again, all this goes back to the initial question is, why do men cheat? Why can't we, fellas, keep it in our pants? Why can't we control ourselves? And ladies, I have no idea what the answer is. I have no idea. Again, it goes back to caveman days. Men are just idiots. And the funny thing is, God attached this thing to these idiots, and that's what gets us in trouble. If we could sever the tie between here and 3 feet below, the world would be a better place because, men do not think with what's up here. Men think with what's down there. And in my case, they're very small thoughts. So why do men cheat, ladies? Just because men can. They're idiots. But on the other hand, every man who cheats has a woman that he's cheating with. Sometimes he has a man who he's cheating with. So what is my advice to you, ladies? I think my grandma, who was married to my grandpa, said it best, and that was this: men are like attack dogs. You need to train them, chain them, and don't let them out of the yard, because you know there's going to be trouble. So there you have it. I wish I had more enlightening thoughts to share with you. Why do men cheat? Simply because they can. And it's a damn shame that we're about all you got to mate with here on earth, because, yeah, train them, chain them, keep them in the yard. Hey, if you enjoyed this rant, then God help you if you didn't. Do me a favor, click that little subscribe button down there. When you subscribe, every time you come back to YouTube, if I've got new content, as they say, you will be able to see that. After you click subscribe, you can also click on that little bell, and that little bell will notify you in your email every time I do this. So, hey, if you've got comments, please leave them below. Why do you think men cheat? Have you ever been cheated on? Are you a man who cheats on the next Maury Povich? Yeah, whatever. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Guys, behave. Keep it in your pants. Keep Willy Wonka out of the chocolate factory. I just love that reference for some reason. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Subscribe, ring my bell, keep it in your pants. Have a fantastic day. Don't forget to have your pets spayed or neutered.